have seen these kinds of plates on rooftops or on road signs or on calculators. They're actually called solar panels, and they are used to make electricity from the sun. So when the sunlight shines on these solar panels, they make electricity, and that electricity cycle is called solar energy. And today I'm going to tell you more about it. Solar panels weren't originally called solar panels in the beginning. They were actually called photovoltaic when they were invented, so they shortened it to PV. But when few years passed, they also requested another name, which was solar panels. Photovoltaic is actually Greek. Photo means light, and voltaic basically means light and electricity. So they connected photo and voltaic together to make photovoltaic. There are different kinds of cells, and most PV cells are made from purified silicon and other elements. And this is silicon. And basic cells are the crystalline, which is this, and each cell is a single crystal, silicon crystal. These have pretty high FNC, which is 10 to 30%, and very long lifetimes, because the crystal structure is very stable. Another basic cell is the polycrystalline. Each cell is basically the crystalline, but instead of each cell as a single crystal, as a silicon crystal, each cell is a collection of many silicon crystals. And another one in the picture not on this slide is called the thin film, or the amorphous silicon. These are the type most commonly found in calculators. Each cell is made from non-crystalline thin films of silicon atoms, and typically have a form of gray appearance. These tend to have lower FNCs, which is 5 to 10%, and more limited lifetimes because the silicon atoms have some freedom to move around over time. On the other hand, thin film cells can be much cheaper and requires much less energy to produce. And their lifetimes are very short. PV panels have an FNC of about 15%, which means that they can deliver about 150 watts per square meter. The doped silicon, this is a diagram of the solar panel, and this is the sunlight shining on this panel, and this yellow spark is the sunlight, and the sunlight splits into two parts. This is the the positive part and the negative. The doped silicon crystal that results will then have electron vacancies in its structure called holes, which is this circle. These holes can actually move because nearby electrons will fill these holes, leaving behind a new hole behind. This one is leaving this hole, and this electron is going into this. This material is called the P material, where P stands for positive because we may think the holes have a positive charge. The electron hole concept may seem a little tricky at first, but the simplest way to think of it is simply that in the P material, the electrons can't move unless the other electrons move out of their way. A hole is simply a space created by another electron. You may wonder how solar panels work on cloudy days or at night, because they make electricity by the sunlight. The answer to that is that some solar panels save electricity that they get. So they save some of the electricity they get and use that saved electricity on cloudy days or at night. And those solar panels are used on road signs like these. So the very first inventor of solar energy was Leonardo da Vinci. During the 15th century, and he drew sketches that were detailed and techniqued, and was the idea for the first invention of solar energy. Hornsty Sasher made the first invention of solar energy, and he created the hot box. The hot box is actually a box, but you can put food inside so it will stay warm, and he made it with solar energy. Another really famous scientist called Albert Einstein spoke speeches to people and scientists that solar energy is needed right now and is really useful and helpful to people. And there are many more inventors to solar energy, and each inventor is very important to solar energy. The cost depends on what kind of panel you buy and what kind of panel you want. And these are expensive and those are cheap. The difference is between the cells. For example, the expensive ones may be the crystalline, which I told you before, and a single crystal is a single silicon crystal, and the efficiency is 10 to 30%. And the cheap ones may be the thin film that the efficiencies have 5 to 10%. And the lifetimes are, the cheap ones' lifetimes are shorter and the expensive ones are longer. So those are the differences for the cost of solar energy. Recent inventions is a panel called the flexible approach to solar. They are solar panels that can bend like this, and they are really thin like paper. And it is an ordinary panel, but it is more lighter, and so you can bring it almost anywhere you want to. And even though you bend it, it would not damage, so it is very useful. Solar energy is used in many different ways, and it is used for almost anything. For example, this is a boat, and the blue tablets are the solar panels. And the solar panel's electricity goes into this motor to sail the boat. And there are many other different ways. You may think solar energy is complete, but it is not. Scientists are still thinking of a better electricity for people, and which electricity that is much useful. And so they have still more ideas to it, and they're thinking of a better future and a better kind of electricity. The future. Now we have these kinds of things that the scientists were thinking about. But in the future, they're thinking in this process $1 per watt. And it is very useful because it has been $5 to $7 per watt. But in the future, they're thinking it will be $1 per watt because how the solar energy process is going. And the inventions they're thinking of are vehicle charges. Vehicle charges are when the vehicle stops and the roof of the vehicle is solar powered and it gets electricity while you're not using it. Why I chose this topic? I chose this topic because my mom suggested I should do it. And then I looked it up in the internet and I found found it interesting, and my mom also told me that we need it right now because the electricity prices are going up. For solar energy, we depend on money because we need to buy it, and it depends if we want to or not. And first it might be hard because you need to buy it, but after you get used to it, it'll be easy. You always depend on God, and first it might be hard because temptations are hard to handle, but after you get used to it, it will become easier and easier.